In this video, you'll see an example of how I find a new location and how I'll visit it repeatedly throughout the year to get a good photo. Once during spring, then autumn, and finally winter. Alright, so it is early March, and admittedly for rural landscape photography, it's usually not the best time of year, but I was driving around in the Danish landscape. I just came from a morning shoot, and out on some fields I saw some really pretty lone trees, big old oak trees that are like standing to themselves. And what I could see on this field is that there's some like long rolling hills. So I've been like driving around on the roads close to it, and right now I've come a little bit into the forest, but I can kind of like see the field here through these trees. So I'm going to take the drone, fly it up, and scout the area a little bit better. There's no problem flying the drone in this area whatsoever, and that's another benefit of rural landscape photography. Chances are that you will be in areas where you can easily fly your drone. Now, this is only a scouting mission. Therefore, I expect to be back maybe tomorrow morning, maybe another morning, but a morning where there ought to be some ground fog. That ground fog should make a massive difference in creating the separation throughout the scene, and thereby I can use these rolling hills in the foreground to help create depth and then have that one lone tree stand out in the scene, and maybe also have some background forest or a background sunrise. But that of course all comes down to the conditions and the light. So it is the morning after what you just saw me scout. Now, there was actually a decent chance that there would be some kind of atmosphere down here, some fog. The forecast did show it, but sadly driving down here my hope slowly evaporated, just like fog does. Now, there is a decent chance that from this angle here, from the forest's edge, I can capture the sunrise behind the tree, so I'll give that a shot. So right now I'm experiencing a beautiful sunrise above the lone tree right there. Well, technically the sun is next to the tree because the sun is not above the tree just yet. I have my long lens on, the 100 to 400 millimeter. Right now I'm working on a composition where I include more of the foreground, the hills, rolling hills in front. I've thrown it, most of it, completely out of focus because honestly this field here in March doesn't really look that pretty. As the sun rises and move in that direction, I will move the camera in that direction so I still have the sun. Right now I am thinking, would it be fun to have the sun behind the tree? And honestly, I don't think that the sun is big enough for that to be an interesting effect. So therefore I simply just move the camera that direction. But in circumstances like this, it's simply just a question about moving back and forward and just lining up the sun and the tree with the foreground in interesting ways. I will try to get a shot where the sun is in the tree just to see how it turns out. It's just so important that you always just try to pursue all the different ideas that you have and you get on location. And then you can always sort through it when you come back home. Did it work? Didn't it work? And then over time you accumulate so much experience where you are better at judging in the field, if you're under time pressure, what will work and what won't work. So I do like these first two photos, but for my portfolio, I have already captured the sunrise behind a beautiful old oak, and I would have preferred to photograph the tree from another angle, so I knew I'd have to come back. All right, so it's about half a year later from what you just saw a bit more. We are actually in the end of November right now. And as you can see, it's foggy, it's moody. What I had hoped for this morning was a bit more like ground-ish fog, because I would like to have those layers. But I still think that this, at the very least, to some extent, can work out. I have put on my 50 to 400 millimeter because I was a little bit unsure about the focal length, so I just wanted to have a lens that covered a big range. And as you can also see, I have taken the big tripod, like it's basically taller than I am. And the reason for that is simply just to get as far up as possible. I've also brought the drone in case I will actually need it to get the perspective, but I do think I can actually get the perspective from here. People driving by here in the middle of the morning, out in the middle of nowhere in Denmark, must think, what is going on there? Because Denmark is not a landscape photography country. So they're like, what? Anyway, where was I? So I've come out here on this morning because obviously I wanted that ground fog to help separate the layers throughout the scene. And it's somewhat what I'm getting because I do have some depth to this scene. I do expect right now on top of my head that I may have to do some image stacking when I come back home in post-processing, but we'll see to that later. But as it is right now, I'm simply just waiting and hoping for the fog to do what I want. So I have low fog, I have the tree coming out of the fog, and then I have like fog on the layers on the fields in front of the tree. The composition is mind-boggling cool. The potential here is, I cannot say this enough. This is probably one of the strongest compositions I've ever found in Denmark. I think it's so cool. At the very least, if you like lone trees and fields, which I do. So right now, it's just a question about waiting and hoping for the best. Setting twice is actually quite simple. ISO 100, and then I'm at f14, and that right now in aperture priority gives me a shutter speed of 10 to 13 seconds. But that is, of course, changing as the light is changing throughout the morning. I'm here before sunrise. Now, sadly, the sunrise will happen like out here, so it's not going to benefit me a whole lot from this angle. So right now, all I'm for right here is just getting that ground fog, that fog, to help separate the scene and the layers throughout. And I think it actually works out pretty okay as it is right now. I've made sure to try and focus on some of the foreground fields right here and then get a good shot of the tree, which stands out really, really nice right now on that background. Even here on my Osmo, you should be able to see it stand out really nicely. I think this is cool. There's actually another tree over here that I also really like. I should be able to capture it from standing on that hill right there. But right now my main priority is the tree right there, because compositionally I have more fields, more layers in front of it, which I actually think looks really, really nice. So, good that I came way before sunrise, because the fog has basically evaporated by now. There's a little bit over there, a little bit over there, but it's not even sunrise yet, and the fog is gone. So there you go, lesson learned. Definitely make sure to be there in good time before sunrise, so you get to benefit from that fleeting morning fog. But I think I got the shot. See, this is much more like it. The ground fog is great at creating that separation throughout the scene, especially when I emphasize the little that was there between the nearest hills. I actually show how to edit the photos I've shown in this video so far in my new course all about rural landscape photography. If you want to learn how to blend your photos, emphasize fog, edit a complex focus stacked photo, how to edit blue sky days photos, moody photos, work them from start to finish, and much more, my brand new course focusing on rural landscape photography with 7 hours of learning in 21 videos is for you. It includes 2 studio recorded theory videos covering what, how, when and where to photograph, and a lot about composition, 6 in-field practice videos covering how I photograph everything from blue sky days, moody days, and golden hours in Denmark to a sunflower field in Germany and wine fields in a half-hour photo trip video in Alsace. And entire 12 videos on editing the photos we captured from start to finish. Let's face it, us landscape photographers don't always have access to the most epic destinations, so learning how to benefit from rural and agricultural landscapes is a must. And the best part is, it doesn't require any specialized gear. If you have a camera that shoots RAW and own a tripod, then you're good to go. You can get 10% off this comprehensive landscape photography and editing course via the link down in the description of the video. And my final visit, for now, to this location was during winter, where this part of Denmark got a significant amount of snow. I wanted to capture a sunrise from approximately the same perspective as the early spring shoot, but had to improvise due to lack of proper light and because the snow was doing awesome things. So I spent most of the morning walking around the forest edge right here, and as the sun came up, I did get a little bit of color, which was fine, but it sadly never really manifested into anything super cool. So instead I focused more on the foreground, and then I've had the sky and the sunrise as a little bit of an alternative thing behind the tree. I have found quite a lot of different patterns in the snow, but I've just come way out into the field. With all this snow in the field, you can easily walk on it. Like, I'm even now like walking on top of the snow. It's so hard. And I've pushed almost like, I'm maybe 50 meters from the tree right now. And I've found these wavy patterns in the snow that look so good as a foreground. And when the sun comes out, as it does right now, it just casts these beautiful shadows. Oh, well, it casts a beautiful light onto the snow, and then it creates these beautiful shadows, of course, on the other side. So, as you can also see, I brought out the Hasselblad camera. I just want to capture all those beautiful details. I'm using the 35 to 75 millimeter lens, and I'm also focus stacking. I'm focus stacking at f8, which is fine when I'm shooting as wide as I can on this lens. I don't get that many brackets. I got like almost 30 brackets when I was shooting in here and I was zoomed in. But here, when I'm shooting wide, it's actually pretty okay. This photo turned out so much better than what I hoped for, and this photo has also been one of my most popular on social media in 2026. It goes to show that even though you already have gotten a photo from a location you like, it may be worth revisiting it during other conditions and from other perspectives. Be sure to get my ebooks on composition and light if you want to learn much more about that, and use the coupon code in the description of the video to get 10% off my 7 hours course on rural landscape photography, and check out this video if you want to learn more about aperture.